Hey Woodturners, Captain Eddie here. I think I'm about to make some people mad. I'm going to show some folks that thought something like a 7-level crankshaft Finio was only for the ornamental world. No, the rest of us guys with long pants can all play in the same game. Take a close look at this. I turn this on this lathe with this Chuki rig. I'm going to show you how to build it. Chuki? Yeah. I think you can even simpler if you really have to. So if you want to know how to do one of these and have a little fun, all you have to do is one thing. Watch. We're going to go handheld, so this might get a little shaky. If you haven't had your morning coffee, go get some. Let's start off with the fact that I built the table. See this table? This just fits just like a tool rest into the ways. And I made it too big. Alright, it could have been 6 inches narrower. But it's about 20 inches long. So I made the table, put some bolts on it, ran it down into the bed. That gave me a working surface. Need a working surface. Alright, then I made this box. This is very simple. Take a look. It's 3 verticals. One down each side, one across in the center. Why didn't I put it on the ends? Because I needed to get to these bolts to put this down. I made the bottom 12 inches wide, made the top 10 inches wide. See how it sticks out? Why? Because I need to anchor it down. That's what I did here. I'm just using a square head, heavy gauge screw. Oh, I don't believe in drywall screws and anything but drywall. Join my cause. It's not really a cause, but what the hell. Alright, you see this slide vise? This is a phase 2. Enco, E-N-C-O, online sells these things for like 89 bucks. If you can't find a phase 2, look around, find a cheap one. Check Harbor Freight. Don't worry about the post. These get expensive. And you got these brackets and all this other stuff. If you've managed to build this table and this box, you can build a bracket that'll hold your router that'll have one bolt to go down into the table. You can't build that, give up on the rest of this, okay? Or go buy a tool post. Now, you've just seen the rig. I got a bed, a box, a slide vise anchor to it, a tool post anchor to it, a router anchor to it. I'm using a standard cove bit. See that cove bit? Picked it up at Southern Saw and Cutter. Great people over there. All except for Kevin. Okay, now, to see if I was square, here, I got to throw a picture in here. When I set it up, I measured from the table to a pipe I ran between centers. Now, when I got that pipe located, then I put some marks on the table. Now, these are the marks I put on the table. I put one at 0, then I took my 1-inch stick rule, moved out 1, moved it out 2, moved it out 3, moved it out 4. That way, if I pull this bed back away from the lathe to get more room to do this kind of ornamental work or skipping work or whatever on a larger piece, I have some reference points. That's only a reference point. I move it to a reference point, I put a little corner mark. See this 0 corner mark? That's for this line, so that screw will always go back in the same hole. If I move it out to the next line, I'd put another 0 mark over a 1/4 inch, and when I mark it, it'll go back to the same hole. Got it? Okay. Now, let's see what else we got. Now, this tool post does not sit square to this bed. Alright, why did I bother squaring the bed? Because it's critical to have this not square to the bed. You don't want this cutter square. If the cutter's square, it's cutting equally on both sides. And you're saying, what's wrong with that? Now, take a look at the physics here. If I'm cutting on this thin side and plowing away at this the same I'm cutting on this side, I'm going to impart some vibration on this little piece that's going to be standing out on this little bitty stick out there. I'm going to get a vibration chatter and it's going to break off. How do I know this? I read it in a book. Yeah, you believe that. Alright. Now when I move over to the next one, get the right spacing, I'll be cutting on this side. This will be a waste cut or a cut back, and I'll get less vibration. Got it? I'm out a square from the table, about 1/16 of an inch and 2 inches. All right, now I've just shared a whole lot of information with you. I don't think I'm going to bother drawing this thing up, but if you really can't follow it and you want to sketch, I'll see what I can do. The chuck I've shown you in previous videos, and I've showed you how to make one out of a piece of pipe that will work just as well. And that piece of pipe goes on a faceplate, and that faceplate goes on your regular end piece. We've getting costs way down here, guys, way down. So if you want to do this, that's the first steps. Now, what I did to start this piece is I put a little finial on top. Now, I've already laid out my first cut, laid out my second cut. What I do now is re-index. I'll pull my cutter back, re-index the piece by either 120 or 180 degrees, something like that. Then I'll move my slide this way, 7/10 of an inch, gives me 2/10 of an inch disc in between, makes the disc stand out a little bit. You don't like that number? Change it. Remember, this is your work, this isn't my work. You don't want to copy my mistakes, do your own stuff. What's with the hand? Okay. So, I'm going to re-index, I'm going to move the cutter down and start over again. Now, you have a mini lathe, and your mini lathe won't travel at that speed. I can understand that. I have a mini lathe outside. I have a Delta that's 3 years older than I am. That means it's older than rocks, according to my granddaughters. So, what do? Don't turn the motor on. It's that simple. Don't turn the motor on. Put a hand wheel down here and just do this. Just like that. Of course, you want to move a few things around and be on the other side. We turn the crank at the same time. But it works just as well. And Lindahl White, who makes a great ornamental lathe, those guys, theirs are all, I don't think all self-powered, but they're self-powered. So they have more control than you ever had, because they're not relying on this motor to do something that you might not be able to stop. And you get better feel if you're turning the crank. So, turn off the motor. And if you got a mini, put a big flywheel and make it easy. Yeah, it won't look cool, and take all that off when you get done. And oh yeah, don't turn this on anything faster than whatever that grandma speed is. You don't want it speeding along. You got it? All right, let's do something. Well, that was a pretty good trick. I put a marker on a feed wheel, and when I got to that marker, look, see, this is how I have it. All right. When I got to that mark, I was sure that the feed was the same distance every time, and every single shaft is the same diameter. No more gauging. Came from one of you guys, dropped me a note and said, "What's with the gauge?" You were right. And by the way, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-step crankshaft finial. Yeah. Did it right here on a conventional lathe. Turn the power off because slow rolling is hard on these big heavy motors. This is a 3 horsepower kit. I didn't want to burn up any parts of it, so I turned off the motor and I self-drove it right here. And I'll tell you what, wasn't that bad. You and I did some pretty good work. That's right, I did say you and I. This is not about what I can do. I only show you how to use your tools. Now, what are you showing me? I mean, I don't get to see the work, I don't get to see the rig, I don't get to see the finished pieces. This will be in the AAW EOG auction in St. Paul this June. You got one put next to it? Come on, let's turn the ornamental world on its ear and show them that big boys can play in this game too. Yeah. This is not exclusive work, guys. This is things that you and I can do in our own shop. And we should be doing it. And we should be sharing it with the world. Showing our apprentices how to do it. Showing other folks how to do it. And have somebody behind us when we go away. Yeah, just like crabgrass, I'll eventually go away. So, get out in your shop, start making some shavings. And if I can help you, just let me know. Oh, website, still selling the cutters and the bars. It's not all that I'm about. Yeah, you know, go. Talking ain't up to me. I want to turn. Can I do a 20? Can I do square? Smaller, round. You know, better than that. Can you? Why should I be doing all this? Come on, what you got going? I'm going to come kick my ass over that stuff, I'll tell you that. Come on, boys. Hey, you know the part where they say no animals were harmed in the creation of this movie? Well, Blackwood took a hit today. So a little bit of Coca-Cola. I tried that and I broke it off. I dropped it. But I did a couple with the 1/2 inch. And then I did one with a 3/8 inch. And that really came out fine. I do like that. And then I swatched over the swing at 3/4. And I came up with these two. And they got a little weird when I got 3/4 on 3/4 pieces. Some really strange stuff. So, just so you know, Blackwood was harmed today. Report me.